Maybe. Nothing.
How I can do this. Well, I'm tempted to call to order at 6:04 with 3 members and a visitor. Is that reasonable for all of you?
Yeah.
There's
Anyway.
Hi. You're muted, so we can't hear you.
Sorry, we have 4 members. Alex is here too.
Great. Zaylee, do you know what a quorum is? Is it?
Yeah, it's half, right?
Right.
So
Which
how
is-
many do we have? We have 8 members.
So half is 4, so
So we have quorum, technically? It's half, right?
It
Yeah.
is. I'm trying to figure out, do we indeed have 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
well, if we're only missing Jono and Carolyn and Kristen, then that's 7.
Oh,
Because we have
could be.
2 vacancies, so we have quorum, right?
All right. So I'm
Great.
going to say we're calling to order at 6:05 and I'll list those present. So you say Alex is there as well?
he is. My mom's just taking over the kids and
Okay.
he's doing the pass off.
Great. Oh, and Jim. Jim is our public is here as well. Is anyone here capable of chairing this, following the agenda so I can do minutes?
Do you want to? I can muddle through it.
It's okay. How about if we just do it communally? It's just that
But
when I'm
yeah,
typing,
oh, yeah. Totally. You can all
Okay.
just, yeah,
so
I'll get it out. Yeah.
we called to order. And then public comment period.
right.
Any comments from the public? No? Okay, moving on, I guess. No, any additional items? No. Review and approve the minutes from June and May.
Right. So I sent out drafts of those minutes and didn't receive
Yes.
comments. So
I'll make a motion to approve both of them.
I'll second the motion.
great. Okay. Okay.
Alex,
Yeah, they
Alex?
looked good. I mean, I feel like if no one comments on the minutes, then they're good.
Yeah.
Great.
And I read through them and they were good.
Great. Okay.
All right, moving right along.
Great.
Correspondence, probably none. New business.
So
Probably-
let's figure out when we introduce and talk to Roger.
That's right now.
Okay, great. Yes,
So-
you're right. Okay.
Welcome, Roger.
Thank you.
I don't, do you want to tell us about you? What?
Cool. Yeah, I know. It's just like a first date. I am Roger. Me and my family, my wife and son moved up here about a year ago, a year and some change in April. And we just bought a house on Lower Notch last October, or sorry, Upper Notch. And we've got a little bit of acreage here and some woods and stuff. And I don't know. We like nature, right? We're hikers and I just got hunting approval. And so whenever I was in the hunter safety down at, the lodge here, I was really interested because they were talking a lot about conservation and like, the role that that they play in that. And there was a lot of information about that I wasn't really expecting as much. And so I was reading through a lot of that, and then I overheard somebody talking to my friend Rebecca and that there was an opening. And I was like, all right, well, that sounds cool. So I figured I'd check out, what y'all are about. I, read through the website and it looked really cool. It's like a bunch of stuff that I'm interested in. And then since we've been up here, I've been trying to like kind of find a way to just get involved in the community. My wife joined the board of the Five Town Friends of the Arts. And so I've been helping them. Like we redid their website a little bit for the event that they just had for 4th of July. And yeah, I'm just trying to kind of get involved and meet some adult humans because I'm around a 6-year-old all day. So there's that too, I guess.
When did you move here?
April of not this one, but the last one, whatever that was. Actually,
April.
no, it must have been, it was the tail end of March. I paid rent for March and moved up at like the 29th or something.
Okay. Okay.
Awesome. I like you already.
All right. Right on.
Guitars and a deer hunter. I like it.
Yeah, I know. I got the guitars, and you can't see it, but I got a little drum kit right here. Me and the kid have been taking lessons. So
Cool.
And
Awesome.
do you,
Just
from reading the website, do you feel as though you have an understanding of what are some of the things we do as a conservation commission?
I
Or do
mean,
you have any questions?
I think so from like a high level, right? I think one of the things I was interested in is more like what the like how do I say not agendas, but like the like individual kind of like areas of focus, I guess, that you guys kind of take up. I get that was kind of my understanding, right? Is like you each have an interest in a specific thing that you kind of put more of your energy towards, and kind of like how what those things are and how they kind of come together as a whole for like the mission, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd say that we all come from pretty different backgrounds. And so we just kind of, yeah, everybody, if there's a topic that comes up that somebody is a little more passionate about or knows a little bit more about, they tend to take the reins
Right.
and yeah, and get assistance where they need assistance.
And I think you'll get a little bit of a feeling for that as we move through our agenda. Because we'll talk about the pollinator garden, and we'll talk about No Mow May, and we'll talk about the wildlife corridor project, each of which different members, I won't say took responsibility for, but were more involved than the entire committee. So yeah, just by listening to what we talk about on the agenda, you'll get a feeling for what that is.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of those things, like I read that corridor project article, and that was super interesting. I thought that was really cool. All the research that went into that, and like being able to get help from the school, I thought was awesome, and get some students, you know, that are clearly learning to do that for their profession. So
yeah,
right on. All right.
Yeah, that's one definitely going to continue. That's a long-term project.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have a lot of opportunity to be involved with that in the future if should you so choose. That's like very much ongoing, and it is a blast. It was a really, really cool project.
Awesome. That sounds great. Yeah, I mean, do y'all have any questions for me? I know it's kind of brief and vague about who I am, what I do, but I guess what I do, I'm a software engineer as well, for a company called Red Hat, if y'all know anything about enterprise Linux systems. And so I run the website for their developers program. That's what I do all day. Not as well. I've got a tendon injury, which is super cool. So I've got like nerve pain in my fingers. So I learned how to use Apple's dictation feature, hit or miss, but yeah. So anyways.
Thanks. Well, welcome.
yes. Well,
This isn't so much a question, but just something I wanted to mention before forgetting it. You mentioned getting into hunting and being involved in the conservation end of it. I'm involved with a couple of different hunting focused conservation groups, backcountry hunters and anglers kind of being the primary one that you may be interested in. I'll fire you off an email with some of those links if you want to get involved in that kind of stuff. There's a lot of we're like the BCC always looking for folks to get involved and fired up about. So
Cool. Sounds good.
so I don't know the next steps. I think
Yeah, Jim, go ahead.
The next step is you have to send a notice to Valerie to have Roger it is, yeah, before the select board for approval. That's your
Yeah,
next
I
step.
think, I think Carolyn will send you the paperwork and you can fill that out and then, and then they will, then you go in front of the select board and say, hey, I want to join the BCC, and they'll say, why? And you'll say, because it seems cool. and then they'll let you.
Do I just
They're unlikely to say no. It's not like playing in the NBA or something.
what's your free throw like? Actually, that's how I hurt my arm. The speaking of
Oh.
NBA was
Sorry.
a 6 foot basketball goal. I know, really bringing it back.
So in fact, I think the most immediate next step will be you will get an email from Carolyn, who will tell you what to do. But you've met with us, which was the first step. So thank you very much. You're welcome to continue to remain online and listen to the rest of the meeting, or duck out anytime you'd like.
Cool. Nope, that was my intention.
Great.
Yeah, I don't know if you were told, you probably were, that we don't have a meeting in August. So we won't be, that wouldn't be your first meeting. So it gives you a little more time to select board though, before our next meeting.
It's September, right? Like the first.
Yeah, and usually we have an in-person part of it too. This is an odd month where a lot of
Where do
people
y'all
have
hold it
vacation.
in person?
Unless it's really nice out in the summer.
We meet, if it's nice out, we meet at the picnic tables next to the hub near the high school, Bristol High School, Mount Abe. And then if it's cold, we meet in Holly Hall.
Nice.
And there's always a Zoom option. So
Unless we meet outside, and then there's not a Zoom option.
is that true? I guess maybe it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it is. Okay,
Okay,
great.
sounds good. All right, should we go to the next agenda item?
Thanks.
The end of fiscal year was June 30th. That's all I know. So you
Well,
were
I don't
good with the plants?
Yep, I got them and I sent in the receipt, and yeah. I went over, so I said I would donate whatever the $10 that I spent over was. It's hard to get exactly $65 worth of plants. It was kind of like 2 and be way under, or go a little over and get free. So yep, and I'm gonna stick those in this weekend.
To where are you going to put them?
Well, I haven't looked up at the garden, so go up to the garden and look around at at Eagle Park. They're for Eagle Park.
Okay. I mean, it could be sycamore or eagle.
I thought we had discussed Eagle. I haven't looked at either garden. You've looked at both gardens, so
I
you tell
have.
me a bit more.
So the concern I have about eagle is it's just not clear how
Hmm.
much mowing, how much change is going to happen due to the excavation. I think they still have to get in there to some extent to put in the new gates that can be removed during a storm. There are some pretty massive asters, some pretty lovely perennials that survived the devastation that happened before, sort of along the edges, growing among the boulders coming out. So my thought, and you're welcome to counter this, would be to put them at Sycamore Park where it's flat. There's actually a spot where almost nothing is growing. There's a fair number of perennials. Many are quite large. There's a spot for them. But if anyone has another thought, please voice your ideas.
Yeah, I can go up and look at Eagle Park and see if there's a spot for one of them. Otherwise, stick them at Sycamore. That's fine.
And I'm happy to meet you at either or both of those spots.
I mean, there's only 3 plants. It's gonna,
Yeah.
it's a one shovel, Not, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for doing that.
I'll take a kids free moment. Go do that.
Okay, great.
All right,
Mhm.
sounds good. The wildlife corridor project. Oh, that was tabled because we're waiting for all the materials to come in. Parks update.
And
I
Mary,
got an email
yeah, no one can tell.
flood from Kristen, but I don't have anything. more than that.
Right. We usually have somebody, Meredith or Zach, give a review, and
Yeah.
neither one could come. So I think that's just not necessarily tabled. We'll just skip it.
Yeah.
Although,
Yeah, before we totally skip over the wildlife quarter thing, I had one thing I wanted to mention, to go back to that real quick, which was that I still have, so a lot of those cameras were the colleges, but a lot of them were mine as well, and I've left mine out, which have been still like collecting. So we've got some pretty cool stuff going on up on the hogback spot that we've got a camera on, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with all of that info, and I've just put it all in a big file, and I think or a big folder, and we'll just like hope we find an industrious college kid who's got more time to sort through all that and categorize than I do. But so that was just the one little sort of update on where things are going there. I'm trying to like roll this into the next year, and hope I talked to Alexis about getting some more kids next year. We're fired up about it, so hopefully we can just kind of roll those into that and let them sort them all out, because I don't know, they had some AI program that was sorting all the pictures and stuff, which is not how I've done it in the past. I have no formal way of doing it, just take the ones with the big antlers and put them in one folder, but we're trying to do a kind of a different thing than that now. So I'm going to leave that to them, but there'll be a big folder to pass on to the next kids, basically.
how many cameras do you still have out?
7, I think, in the woods right now.
Okay, and they're scattered all over.
Yeah, I've got a couple up on the hogbacks. There's on the big saddle that you look at up from Bristol Pond. I've got 2 in that little in the saddle. There's a big game trail that runs through that, and then the rest of them are all up in that Notch Road parcel that we were looking at. I'm going to pull one of them and put them back down around the Bristol Pond, the little like timberline that runs around the north edge of Bristol Pond, because we were getting some really awesome pictures through there, but that was college cameras. We actually ran into a couple river otters on Bristol Pond the other night, so I'd kind of like to get a camera back in there if they're still hanging around, because we had seen one of them on camera a little while ago,
Cool,
and that was kind of fun.
cool. That's excellent.
Yeah.
And do you
Yeah.
hope to just keep collecting images throughout the summer, or?
Yeah, yep. I will run out of batteries here on a few of them fairly soon, I think, but we'll go back in and charge them back up, and but yeah, I'll just keep them on I'll just keep a big folder going, and then, like I said, hope somebody comes along to sort them out.
Right.
Did you have a question, Jim?
Yeah, whereabouts is the notch parcel you're talking about?
So if you go like right, it's actually not in Bristol, just because of where we had permission to run cameras. We did not
Is it
have it on
past my house?
permission on the private land. So
Is it
What's
up
that?
next to my house?
yeah. So it's right. It's pretty much at the crest of the ridge there. So if you head straight north off of where the intersection of Duclos Road is.
Yeah.
If you head into the woods straight north there and go up towards the big clear cut and all.
Okay.
I've got a few on that ridge itself.
Oh, that's good. Okay, you crossed our property up there. You understand where it is now. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, very, very cool area. I hunt back
It
in
is
there quite-
beautiful up there.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good pictures from there. I want to I've been talking to Alexis about getting a couple kids together to do a moose population survey on South Mountain next year, which she's got some kids that are interested in, which would be a lot of fun. I don't know how that would play into anything the BCC does, but I'm really kind of curious. So I feel like we see a lot of moose there, and we see a lot of moose sign, but maybe moose makes so much sign that I don't know if we're looking at like 3 moose running around or a legitimate breeding island. So it'd be kind of fun to check out. So that's kind of the next phase that we've been chatting about.
Yeah, I've seen 2 myself up there, male and a female.
Yeah,
In
we
a
ran
couple of
into a
years.
really big bull there a little while ago,
Yeah.
actually.
Yep.
They're
Good area.
definitely in.
Good area.
That big striped maple stand on the like western side of it is always rubbed up. So anyhow, that's where the wildlife shenaniganry is at.
Cool. Thank you for that.
So Nancy, before you move on, for the park updates, I can just add information from the email from Kristen about how the fishing platform survived the flood and where flooding was at Sycamore Park. But that's all. I think that's all we have.
I think so.
No, it isn't. The pollinator garden at Sycamore Park, I've been in 3 times to weed, so it looks pretty good now. Quarter Night does have an intern who is willing to help, but our paths haven't crossed yet. So it could be that I think I would wait till September, see what the garden looks like and if it needs more care at that point. But right now, all I took out was madderwort, I forget, gallium is the genus, and sumac, and just lots and lots and lots of that. And now it looks a lot better. So that was an update at Sycamore Park.
Thanks for doing all that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, and then the plant purchases, we talked about that.
Mhm.
No Mo May, you said you didn't get a chance to talk with Meredith?
I sent her an email and asked her questions about how it went and what her thoughts would be for next year, and didn't hear back. So I don't think there's anything really to talk about unless any of us have thoughts about how it went and what we would do in the future.
I don't know. I wonder if we should in the future just do a little more advertising and promoting for people doing it on private land, you know. I don't know.
And I don't know how to shift it a little more towards maybe pollinators instead of just staying. I mean, it's obviously called No Mo May, but there's a lot of people I've talked about, like myself included, that need to mow. And so how to incorporate those people in to reach a wider audience, I guess.
Yeah, like
Like a-
informing people on what else they can do for pollinators if they do need to mow a certain section or something.
Yeah.
I gotta say we did, so we generally do no mow all the time. By
Not
accident.
any sort of moral standing or something.
And unfortunately it meant that on our tiny little quarter acre here, we just were completely taken over by weeds. And so this year after May ended, I mowed it, and I'm going to have to completely figure out how to like burn or dig up half of our yard and just
Wow.
reseed it. So because we have all these invasive little weeds, you know, that just take over. And so for us, I don't think I can do it next year. I did plant about 2,000 pussy willows in my little quarter acre this year though. So I'm feeling pretty good about my spring pollinator game. But
But that's exactly the kind of like presenting people with ways that they can help pollinators outside of not mowing if they are in a position like that.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what burning it does too. I mean, if that's a good solution yearly, then
we
we can
can't
do
burn
that.
it yearly because then we're going to spend a fortune on grass seed.
Love to burn it though.
Either way, we've now struggled with it. But
Yeah.
again, we were also we would then mow it at the beginning of June and then not mow it until July. And, you know.
Right. So for you, not mowing it in May meant the invasion of these little weeds that are
Yeah, the ones with the purple flowers that are kind of tall. I don't know. They bloom in May. They're just, yeah, they took over completely. We have no grass out there anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm afraid that the whole no mow philosophy is actually quite complicated. And I don't think we can just pinpoint it and say not mowing in May will help pollinators as a point blank. We don't have to discuss this any further because as Ailey just said, well, it's more complicated than that. It affects things that happen beyond May.
Right.
A lot of the no mow movement came from people with bigger meadows who were trying to protect nesting birds, bobolinks,
Well, and probably fawns too.
and probably
Fawns.
Fawns, turkey poults, all kinds
Yeah.
of things. Yeah,
Sure.
there's-
Exactly. And for most of it, that's really not an issue. Your land is too small to host a nesting population of birds or whatever. So therefore, a lot of other ideas came to try to support this idea that maybe we should just hold off And some of it has to do with energy use, that
Yeah.
wouldn't it be great if people just didn't mow as early so that they were using fewer fossil fuels and it was less noise and less pollution in the air. Indeed, pollinators do like some of those early weeds like violets and
Oh, yeah, violet.
self-heal and dandelions. But as soon as you mow in June, which you will with no mow May, you're mowing all that away anyway. But most of the workers come out early and they do a lot of foraging in May. So yeah, wouldn't it be great if we could provide more resources for them? I
I
think
wonder if we do like lectures from we should like do a little more promoting with the pollinator pathways group of like being like, okay, so we know that May tends to be a time when a lot of pollinators are out there working really hard and have a lack of food because a lot of the gardens haven't bloomed yet. How do we help them in various ways? I bet we could work with pollinator pathways on getting like a lecture, a pamphlet, and get information out there for people on different things that they can.
Yep.
Yeah, like a PCC sponsored lecture series on maintaining your property, and there's all sorts of different things we could host people on.
Yeah, for one thing, the wildlife corridors.
Have Alexis come talk about the wildlife corridor. Yeah.
Honestly, that would be kind of cool.
It would be fun.
We could talk about that in September, maybe when we have everybody back.
Yeah. There's a big conversation that can be had just about lawns in general. Like, our approach to needing 2 acres of Kentucky bluegrass around your house, like that's the problem. Like that's really it's not so much when you mow it, it's that you have a desert around your house if you want to look cool. And
thank you. That's exactly the issue. And no mow May was sort of just like a little way to approach that, but it's as though we're saying, well, as of June, it doesn't matter what you're doing because it doesn't matter. Well, it does. And diversifying your lawn will always be beneficial ecologically. So to encourage that as well would be great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's talk in September and maybe get in touch with pollinator pathways and put together something well ahead. We have lots of time before spring.
Yeah.
And maybe we do a lecture and then also maybe do some sort of pamphlet that we can get out to people or information. And maybe we do that in like March before everything starts coming out.
It was kind of like hard to see when we did the little the wildlife corridors presentation that there are people in town who will show up and watch that kind of stuff, and that it's kind of opens it's an opportunity for us to connect that way. I think there's an appetite for it and interested people, and we found a way to reach them, and it can be done, and that can be fun.
Yep. Great. Good.
That sounds good.
Where are we at in the agenda?
Or accessibility design for town parks.
Which I don't know.
Yeah, so I forgot his name, unfortunately. He met with us.
Dan something?
Dan
Malik. He met with us at the last meeting and provided a lot of it. We talked about it for a long time at each of the parks and what are the possibilities. And he was planning to kind of host going to all of the parks again in person and talking about it to anyone who's interested. And I know we got an email that he had to reschedule that his original date wasn't going to work.
Yes.
And I can put that in. Yep.
Was it, I can look back because I want to say it's next week. Let's see. I don't know.
Right. So
You find it? I'm looking for that.
Here's the email from Dan saying, we would like to reschedule our steering committee meeting for the accessible designs from tomorrow, which is today, Thursday morning at 9 a.m. to exactly 1 week later, Thursday, July 18th at 9 a.m. By that time, we'll have developed an initial sketch and received additional public feedback. So they want to have this meeting on the 18th at 9 a.m. and they will inform everyone on Front Porch Forum. I think how to attend that meeting.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's
Is that something separate
the
from what
meeting-
you're talking about walking through the parks? That's like a slide deck or something they're showing.
That's a good question.
That was my question. Is it a Zoom or?
I think a lot of people are working 9 a.m. on
It is a
Thursdays.
join, yeah, it's a join Zoom meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's hoping to do it Thursday, July 18th at 9 a.m. So I guess as many of us as can attend that, that would be great, but he's going to advertise it much more widely.
Yeah, if it's on Zoom, I can generally, I can do that. I could just mute myself. Block my screen, my video camera, but I can be there. I'll write that down.
So Roger, there's a company looking to make the 3 town parks more accessible for access to them. So he's the designer, I guess. Is that who Dan is? That is working with that. So that's what that's all about.
Is the idea that he's like prepping like a bid for review, or
Not quite there
one
yet.
really.
More in the ideas phase of like what are some options at our various parks? How can they become more accessible to, and also how can they be utilized by everybody? But also how they can be ADA accessible.
Yeah, for sure.
Or
Yeah,
more.
that's really cool. Yeah, it'd be cool if y'all could, if that meeting's recorded. I'll definitely check it out. But yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I'm interested to see what like that kind of presentation looks like. But yeah, it'd be cool to go to the parks and actually look at like this is what he's talking about. I'm assuming there's going to be pictures, but yeah,
We went through some of that last month.
that's really
Mhm.
cool.
And in fact, that meeting was recorded, wasn't it? The Conservation
yeah.
Commission meeting where he presented all that information. So some of it at least might be available for you to see, Roger.
Okay.
So
Um,
yeah, last meeting.
Yeah.
Right on. I'll look at that.
At our June meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Next, events. I don't think we have any upcoming before September. If anyone knows of any. All right, well, that brings us to the next meeting.
It
Will
was an
be
efficiently run meeting, Nancy.
September, no August meeting.
So given the brevity of this, are there other things people want to talk about or if we move too quickly over agenda items, is there anything you want to return to or talk about more, or shall we say we're done at 6:37?
I don't think so.
So would we motion for adjournment?
We do.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Meeting is adjourned. I don't know. Is that what she said?
We're supposed to vote.
Okay, you
Oh,
said
Oh,
that,
yes,
Roger. We
vote.
voted all the way to
That's
7:30.
We're luring Roger in with the idea that this is going to be.
Your meeting.
This is not normal. Carolyn usually has it
We
all.
don't- Yeah, we
That's
don't
super
run
official.
late. We're almost always like out at 7:30. Like
That was one of the
everyone's-
things she told me specifically. She was like, I like to have a hard out.
Carolyn sticks the landing right at
yeah.
not a
But
minute
it
before.
also is 7:30.
Well, she's gonna be jealous that it was 37 minutes and be like, look,
I
look how
know.
good
Look,
we
it's
did."
because we ran it so efficiently.
Exactly.
Exactly, no,
This was all
the
about
streamline.
efficiency, not
They're
attendance.
missing half of our people.
Not the lack of anything on the agenda.
Right on.
Well, thanks for your interest.
Yeah.
Good luck with the select board stuff. That it's all pretty streamlined. Yeah, love to see you at the next one.
Cool.
Yeah,
Sounds
we
good.
look forward to seeing you in September.
Great.
Will do. All right.
Welcome to the community too.
Yeah,
you.
that too.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
All right, thank you, Nancy, for
Bye.
clerking. Bye.